Hello guys, welcome to part 8 of the Workstation build. In this video we'll be installing the GPU. So for the GPU, I went with the RTX 2060. Remember, this was back in 2019. I'm not a gamer, so I didn't really need like the 2080 or the 2090. The 2060 was more than enough GPU horsepower and still had plenty of CUDA cores and stuff for video rendering. So the 2060 performs around the same performance as a 1080, so the last series top-end GPU. Plus, for the price, the 2060 was an excellent value to performance ratio. So as you can see, I unboxed it. I'm taking off the top film, and you get a nice MSI packet. This is the MSI GeForce RTX 2060 6GB GDDR6 VENTUS 6G OC, so the overclocked version. They give you a nice thank you card that includes the registration. You want to make sure you go on MSI's site and register your GPU so you can register the warranty. That's very important. I always register all my parts. Comes in a nice foam padding to hold it, and there's nothing else in the box. This was back in the days when you could actually buy GPUs. Even a 2060 nowadays, good luck getting one. They're probably like $800 or $900. But when I bought this, I should look up how much it cost, but it wasn't a whole lot of money. It was probably like $200 to $300 range. Like I said, it was a really, really good price to performance ratio. If I went with like a 1080 or a 1080 Ti, I would have been talking about $600 to $700. So getting a card that performs like a 1080 for $200, $250 range is excellent. Like I said, I'm not a gamer, and even if I was, this game would pretty much perform most 1080p titles with relatively good FPS. For video rendering, this thing chews through video rendering. This is what I'm currently editing this video on, is this card right here. And it just chews through rendering when I use Sony Vegas with the CUDA core enhancement there as the rendering engine, and it just chews through it. Of course, I'm doing 1080p renders, but compared to my older computers, my laptops and stuff, oh my goodness, it's night and day difference on the rendering times. But this will have 3 DisplayPort outs and 1 HDMI out. That's why I recommend when you get monitors, you get monitors that have DisplayPort, because that's pretty much the standard. There's the front of the box again, Ventus. I like the Ventus series because it's the more laid-back, professional-looking series. It doesn't have all the fancy RGB and everything else going on. So there's a front look at the card. It's a dual cooler. Like I said, this is what all the Ventus cards are going to look this way. And it actually matches up with the look of the actual Workstation motherboard just well. Like, they complement each other. And I know the camera is out of focus when I was doing this. I apologize. Okay, so we're now going to install the GPU into the motherboard. The first thing you want to do is you're going to want to remove the expansion slot covers. You're going to want to keep these covers somewhere safe. I usually recommend putting them in the motherboard box. You're going to want to move the plastic cover from the bottom of the GPU. You always want to install the GPU in the top slot, the x16 PCI Express slot. Make sure the little retention lever on the PCI Express slot is in the open position. Line up the card and line it also up with the bracket of the case. Now I notice, since I have that huge NHD15 heatsink, it's going to be up really snug with the GPU. But it will fit. It's just going to be a nice, tight, snug fit. So I'm going to try and line the GPU up with the case and with the slot, and having a little bit of trouble. I might have to end up taking off that other cover. So I am removing that other cover. I thought based on the angle of the first slot, it'd be the second and third one, but looks like it won't be. Sometimes it helps just to take off the first four or so covers just to figure out which ones do align with your motherboard and slot. As you see, that GPU is really right up against that fan on the heatsink. Like I said, it's really snug, but it will fit. And you'll know it's in because you're going to hear that retention lever on the PCI Express slot click in and lock in, and the GPU will sit nice and flush. And you want to make sure that you can line up the tabs for the expansion slots just correct, so you're able to get the screw down in the thread and secure the GPU to the case. So you might have to wiggle it a little bit. You might have to, got to get it angled just right, and then we're going to secure it down. And then if there's any other covers that were removed that need to go back on, we'll put those back on. See how I'm putting on that first cover? Looks like that first cover was not utilized, so we're going to put that cover back on. You want to make sure that you, when you put that cover back on, you're putting it behind the motherboard, so in between the case and the motherboard. You don't want it like touching the motherboard or anything like that, because you could short something out. So you got to be careful how you angle that and get that down in there. So I'm screwing on that first expansion slot cover, getting that tightened back down. And there is a second screw for the GPU because it's a 2-slot GPU. So we'll screw on that other one and make sure they're both nice and snug. I'm just looking over and make sure everything looks right and looks seated. Sometimes it helps to take a flashlight to look down in, because like I said, inside cases and stuff, it's so dark. So there we go. The GPU has been installed. It is a tight fit with that heatsink. There's another angle of it. As you can see, it sits right up there. There's the rear view look. So it does use the third and fourth slot, as I predicted. Or the second and third, I mean. Sorry. Thanks for watching.